Despite the absolute hectic and messy nature of this episode, I found it to be rather tame, at least in comparison to what we got so far with season 4. Like, leaving this episode, I didn't think it was meant to serve as a big exposition dump, just one that was just showcasing what Ern's family dynamic is like at the moment, like amidst the success he's acquired over the years. And it seems that despite the weight of his wallet or having the ability to financially support his parents, it seems as though the way they interact with him hasn't changed much. Like, even noted in the first episode, they didn't even allow him entry in the home he was raised in, and in this one he was denied driving and denied food along the way to church. It's like, no matter how rich or poor you are, you know, you're still my son. You know, it's that kind of evergreen sort of love between a parent and child. But I will admit, on my initial watch, I did feel as though there was some distance between Ern and his parents, and I was thinking to myself, is it because he's just too busy, or he doesn't play an active role in their life apart from like financial stuff? So I kind of had to revisit season 1 to see if their relationship has always been that way, and to my surprise it has, and it's quite the norm for them. Like, they will tell Ern that I do not trust you, while simultaneously having much faith in his ability to get things done. A big example of this dates back to episode 2 of season 1, when Alfred goes to Ern's dad and tells him, you know, Ern wants to be my manager, it's just I don't trust him. And Ern's dad goes on to say, you know, I understand where you're coming from, but when it comes to Ern, when he wants to get things done, he will get things done, so long as it's on his terms. So it's like, this is normal. I just was failing to read the room. And so while in this episode Ern is asking for help from his dad, him telling him to go figure it out for yourself and I believe you'll do the right thing, this is just something he's accustomed to doing, and I would say it's thanks to this that Ern is a very resourceful person. But on the other hand, I do understand Ern going to his dad about how to resolve the kidnapping of his grandfather. Totally understand that. To my knowledge, that is not an everyday thing unless I'm living under a rock. Now when it comes to the other aspects of this episode, boy, I was really trying to find something to latch onto for some significance, to like understand if there's actually something under the surface that I just couldn't quite grasp. Now something that I felt had some semblance to that came in the form of a verse, which was John 10:10, which says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I have come that they may have life and have it to the full," which was read during the church service. Now I feel as though I don't have the authority to speak on it. I did try to do my due diligence to have some understanding of what it meant, but with every interpretation I read into, it just got more and more confusing. And I only suspected the verse having some importance or relevance to the plot because, well, one, it's Atlanta. Realistically, they could have chose any verse to be read out loud, and two, later on in the episode during the call with Gloria, Willie, Pearl, and Aunt Jeannie, they referred to the latter as evil after she had shared her suspicion as to why Gloria did what she did. And whether or not it was true, it's like she said it in really poor taste. But at the same time, had Gloria not kidnapped her father, it's like much of the conflict in this episode wouldn't exist. It would just be a regular day at church. But again, as I said before, I don't think I have the authority or experience to partake in this discussion. So if you lot are familiar with that verse and feel as though it had some correlation to this episode, please share them. I would love to get more insight on that. Now, with everything involving Gloria and Aunt Jeannie, I do think the two at the core very much care about their father, so much so they're bumping heads about it. And I would even argue the two share the same fear to never being remembered by their dad, because the whole dementia revelation didn't seem to strike Gloria as a surprise. It might have just been too much to admit during the car ride with Ern. And even to Jeannie's respect, it's like she very well might have the same fear that if she lets him go, it would probably strike her just as bad. Like, it would be in character. Gloria did say that she is a hoarder, so it would only make sense that she would also apply that with her dad, but like by tenfold. So I think it'd only be natural for the two to spite one another in response to that fear. So in their own ways, both ends are somewhat justified. When in fear, you might not make the best decisions, but I feel like in this case, it comes from a place of good, I would argue. And so, yeah, I don't know. That's just really my interpretation of their whole situation. I could be misreading it. Who knows? Feel free to give your opinions and thoughts on that. Aside from that, there were some scenes in this episode I found to be quite hard to sit through, and I'm mainly talking about the ones involving Ern's dad at the mall. Like, the entire time, I was like, oh my god. These kids are jerks. They're just complete assholes. Like, I was like, I could definitely see why he wouldn't want to be there while church is out or while just younger people are there. Like, I totally get how younger people can be disrespectful to like the older generation or whatnot, but I was like, yo, this is dreadful to watch. I was like, oh, I feel bad for the guy. Now, it'd be different if he engaged or left some kind of slick remark, but the whole interaction was unprovoked. And to what I make of that whole situation was kids are just just jerks, bro. Just complete jerks. But overall, I thought this was a really good episode. As I said before, this felt like the cool down period of Atlanta before things kind of like hit the fan. I hope not. I mean, these past few episodes have been ominous to say the least, and I'm not looking forward to seeing what kind of tragedy awaits. If there is, could be my own nerves. I'm just crossing my fingers, that's all. But yeah, that's all that I have to say on this episode. I thought it was good. I think at the very least, I think most people who come from like a black household would find everything in this episode, for the most part, normal and just something that happens. Like, I don't think Ern's family hate each other. They just have a strange way of showing it, similar to that one episode in season 3, Trinity to the Bone. You know, the family was very all over the place, at least from the outside lens, but someone who comes from those roots, they'll find all of it to be just a regular Monday. But yeah, I think that's it. I'm gonna wrap this up now. Please take care of yourself and have yourself a good one. Oh yeah, and free Gunna.